That's fine. I said we go ahead and start, and then when he gets
Okay.
here, we can, even if you, Mr. Marty, even if you have to pause for a minute while he's in, just to kind of get him in, that's okay.
Okay, that'll be fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay, y'all ready to go with it?
Yes.
Sir.
Okay, Kevin, tell me when.
I'm recording now. I'm
It's
recording
great
now.
to see everyone tonight. Since this is the first time the Tipton County School Board has held our meeting online, I'm proud to be here with all of you making history. I want to say on behalf of the board how much we appreciate the hard work and flexibility of the school staff members during this unprecedented time. We also want to share our thanks to parents across the county who have been so supportive. We pray that all of this is over soon and things will get back to normal as our meeting is called to order now. Would you all please stand and as we say, and standing for a moment of silence, and let's remember that,
Let me take up a makeup.
okay. Remember the corona victims and families that are everyone that is affected during this time, please. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States and to the republic which stands
nation,
one nation, under God, indivisible,
liberty, justice for all. Be seated, please. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Davidson,
Second.
second by Mr. Joyner. Dr. Combs, could you do the roll call, please?
Yes, sir. If you would answer I whenever I call your district in your name. District 1, Mr. Isaiah Davidson.
Aye.
District 2, Mr. Steve Clark.
Aye.
District 3, Mr. Marty Burleson.
Aye.
District 4, Mr. Grant Shipley.
Aye.
District 6, Mr. Richard Joyner.
Aye.
District 7, Mr. Alvis Farrell. District 8, Ms. Belinda Rozelle.
Aye.
District 9, Ms. Laurie McClurkin.
Aye.
We have 9 ayes, motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Do we have any additions to the agenda from anyone? If not, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Would anyone like to remove item from the consent agenda for discussion? If not, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Clark,
I second it.
second by Mr. Shipley.
All right, roll call. Davidson.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Burleson.
Aye.
Shipley.
Aye.
Vincent. Vincent. Joyner.
Aye.
Farrell.
Aye.
Rozelle.
Aye.
McClurkin.
Aye.
You have 9 ayes, Mr. Chairman. Motion passed.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is the Director of Instruction report. Dr. Bird.
Thank you, Mr. Burleson. I just have a few things to share with you tonight. The first thing is I want to say congratulations to Miss Missy Hammond. She is a teacher, a CTE teacher at Munford High School, and she was recently named a region level finalist for Tennessee Teacher of the Year. So we are very excited about that, and we want to say congratulations to Miss Hammy in Munford High School. Secondly, I want to talk just briefly about some of the instructional things that have been going on during our school closure period. Our teachers, our administrators and supervisors, our technology staff, everyone has been working very, very hard, making sure that our students have some opportunities to continue learning while school is out of session. And some of the online opportunities that we've offered them are lessons on Thrivist, Google Classroom, Zoom meetings, Facebook Live meetings, and many other platforms and online resources that we've been using. And also, we know that we have students who do not have access to the internet. And so we have been providing printed instructional packets to those students. And just to let the board know that we've given out almost 5,000 printed packets since last Thursday. And we're very excited that our teachers had the opportunity, or our parents, excuse me, had the opportunity to come and pick those up for their students. And it's exciting to see that people are still wanting to learn and keep their kids moving through this time. Also, the state has a partnership with PBS. I don't know if you all have seen this, but they're airing 2 hours of instruction each day on PBS. And we know that that's pretty much a channel that everyone should have access to. And we've communicated this information with our community through social media, as well as our webpage, and we're hopeful that our students are taking advantage of all of these learning opportunities that are available to them. The third thing I have is you all recently approved policy 6.204 for out-of-district transfers, and part of that policy says that we have to set a tuition amount for students wishing to transfer to our system. So we are proposing tonight the amount of $750 to recoup some of the local funds for these students that would be coming from out of district. And we feel that $750 is a great starting point for those parents wanting to bring their students to Tipton County from outside of Tipton County. And Mr. Chairman, I will need a motion to approve that amount.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the $750 tuition for out
I'll make that
of
motion.
district students? Motion by Mr. Joyner.
Second.
Second by Mr. Farrell. Is there any discussion? All those in, well, Dr. Combs.
Yes, sir. Davidson,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Burleson,
Aye.
Shipley,
Aye.
Vincent, Joyner,
Aye.
Farrell,
Aye.
Rozelle,
Aye.
McClurkin.
Aye.
9 ayes, motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
And Mr. Chairman, that's all I have unless someone has a question for me.
Mr. Becker, what about picking up the learning packages? Is that 100%? Do you have any parents that was not able to come by and pick up the packages?
We did have a few calls earlier in the week from some of the schools that had already given out packets. Our elementary and middle schools did their packet pickup last week. So we had some calls earlier this week to the central office asking about how they could get the packets. The packets are online, so they, of course, can be printed. But we referred them back to the school principal and provided the principal's email so they could work out a way for them to get a packet.
Okay. All right.
Any other questions for Dr. Byrd? Thank you, Dr. Byrd.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is a Director of Operations report. Dr. Fisher.
All right. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
And first off, in adult education, I just wanted to update you that our instructors, have maintained contact with our adult ed students and are providing packets of assigned work through and also distance learning, just to make you very aware of that. Students that have internet capability are being provided with iPads if they need that. So just want to make you aware of that with adult education. Our maintenance staff is continuing to work on building maintenance and also capital improvement projects. The transportation staff, of course, has worked on cleaning the buses, and they've begun working on summer maintenance. The food service is where I really wanted to spend my time. I'm very proud to report that the food service staff, under the leadership of Ms. Glass and Christine Thornton, have truly done a remarkable job planning for and purchasing and providing meals to our children 18 years and younger. You know, we have the 5 school sites, but we also have 7 buses that are actually running and delivering throughout the county. We're delivering 2 meals per day, breakfast and lunch. Last week, March 30th through April 3rd, we served 15,688. This week, April 6th through April 9, ending today, we served 21,556 meals. That's an average of 5,000 meals per day. So just want to say a definite hats off to the food service and transportation staff, our bus drivers, those persons that have been preparing those meals. Also our nursing staff, Methodist Le Bonheur staff, they've been providing screening daily at all of our buildings. Our school principals, our supervisors, they've assisted with meal pickup and delivery. I want to thank them for that. Our SROs, the local police have also assisted with that. I want to thank our school board member, Miss Belinda Rossell, who has helped us serve at Drummond's Elementary. Miss Melissa for updating the website for us. But I really want to say a special thank you to the individuals, local ladies and men from some of our local churches that have made masks for our food service workers, central office staff, maintenance, and transportation. So we do have a lot of unsung heroes out there, and we just want to say thank you for meeting the need. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Dr. Fisher, for report. It's all good, and thank you for the good information. There's been a lot of meals served, and a lot of hard work has gone on making sure this service was provided, and it is a vital service to our children.
No problem.
Hey,
The next item we have
Dr.
is
Fisher,
Yes, sir.
one of our board members asked you to repeat the number of meals served again. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. For the week of March 30th through April 3rd, we served 15,688 meals.
Wow.
For the week of April 6th through this April 9, which is today, we've served this week, 4 days, 21,556 total meals. So this week, our average was about 5,000 meals per day we served.
Dr. Fisher, I wanted to say something. We've had several other parents really say thank you. And I want to say that because they said it has helped them out a lot with the meals, especially some of the grandparents are trying to help them with their children, grandchildren. So everybody's been very appreciative of the meals, very much so. They're coming in. And they saying thank you. We even got a little card from a little girl today saying thank you. So
good deal. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
thank you, Dr. Fisher, again. Next item is our financial report from Ms. Peggy Murdoch. Ms. Murdoch?
Good evening. I have a couple of things for you. The first thing is I have two copier leases that need to be approved. One is for Elementary, one is for Austin P. Those.
Do we have a motion to approve the copier leases as presented by Ms. Murdoch?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Shipley. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Davison, second. Are there any questions? Dr. Combs?
Yes, sir. Roll call vote. Mr. Davison?
Aye.
Clark? Burleson?
Aye.
Shipley?
Aye.
Vincent? Joyner?
Aye.
Farrell?
Aye.
Rozelle? McClurky?
9
ayes, Mr. Chairman. Motion passed.
Thank you, Dr. Combs.
Thank you, Mr. Burleson. So the next thing that I have is some information about our custodial contract. We have had it for 5 years. It's time for us to look at figuring out that custodial service. 3 providers that were interviewed by the committee, and the committee consisted of Glenn Turner, Dr. Combs, Christy Walsh, Donnie Wallace, Marty Burleson, and Peggy Murdoch. And list that we have so far, Parco has an annual cost of $1,469,275. SMS has a cost of $1,430,070. ABM has a cost of $1,492,967. And I'm going to leave that up to Mr. Burleson, I believe, as to what to do next.
After consideration and with the committee's preference, along with the fact that 50% of the principals were not satisfied with the custodial service during the 19 to 20 school year, Mr. Turner recommends go with the Parco company for the 2021 school year. It'll be a one-year agreement. That's the motion.
Can you
From
repeat?
that's the recommendation from Mr. Turner, and we will need a motion.
And that is the low bid.
Right.
Can you say those bids again? I had a really hard time hearing that.
Sure. Can you
It
hear
may
me?
be, Miss Peggy, it may be good if everyone could mute their mic just so you read, because I'm getting like papers shuffling and all kinds of stuff. That's why we can't hear. Everyone might want to mute while you're reading it so we all get it.
All right, so I'm gonna try it one more time. All right, so the Parco cost was $1 million. I still hear, I can't hear myself. Are you ready? $1,469,275. SMS was $1,008,270. And ABM was $1,492,967. So Parco, the one that we recommended, is the low bid.
Did everyone get the bids at that time?
Yes.
Okay, that is a recommendation from Mr. Turner that will go with a one-year agreement with Parco. And we'll need a motion to select this company.
I'll make a motion that we go ahead and.
We have a motion by Mr. Joyner. We have a second. Second by Ms. McClurkin. Are there any questions? All those in, Dr. Combs?
Yes, sir. Let me say this just before I do the roll call. I just want everybody to understand. So it's basically, it's a multi-year contract, but it's renewable every year. Isn't that correct, Miss Peggy?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay, so it'd be more than 1 year. It's just that at the end of every year, we can review it and change it if we want to. So yes, sir.
That's correct.
Okay, so Mr. Davidson.
Aye.
Mr. Clark.
Aye.
Mr. Burleson.
Aye.
Mr. Shipley.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent. Mr. Joyner.
Aye.
Mr. Farrell.
Aye.
Ms. Rozelle.
Aye.
And Ms. McClurkin.
Aye.
I have 9 ayes. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Dr. Combs. Ms. Peggy, are you ready for the financial report now?
I am, yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, so, it's slow, that quickly. You need me to stop, let me know. You've got the amended budget in front of you. We're going to start with 7-1100, which is the regular instruction. That should be on that very first page that you've got. You're going to move $25,000 from the teacher line. And before I go any further, let me say, because of this pandemic, we are not going to try to spend down our money because we have no idea about the revenues that will come in. So Dr. Combs said it's probably best for us to be very fiscally responsible. If we find that we do have extra money at the end, we can take it back out of the fund balance next year. Because we don't know about the revenues, I'm hesitant to spend very much towards the end of the year like we normally do. So there's not as much movement of dollars for that fact. So in that one category, 1100, that $25,000 has been taken out to go elsewhere. There's nothing in 71150, the alternative tool. Then special education, they had several things that needed to be moved. And you can see that we took $47,000 away from some of those categories and added it back in. And then also into instructional supplies. But the overages are very small throughout those categories, so we just took a little bit from each and try to make up that deficit in other areas. We've been able to move the money around in that category to satisfy all of the needs in special education. In vocational education, that's 71300. We had to move $7,400 and $1,000 out of the teacher and the career ladder, and also $1,000 out of retirement to make up for the medical insurance shortage, as well as needed some exchange of money. All of that money was taken care of in that vocational education category, so there was no money from people else that had to be moved. Questions on that? All right, so in adult education, we added $22,000 to that group, I think because we're not 100% certain when it will give us an opportunity to go out and have students come back in. So we wanted to have enough in there just in case students were able to come back in, we would be able to pay those teachers. Purchased several items in instructional supplies for students, that's iPads, as well as some equipment. So we've added $6,000 to that adult education. It's doubtful that we'll use it all, but it's there. The opportunity. Then there's nothing to be moved in the health services. And in the 72-1300, that is the contracts with Austin Peay and Drummond's. We had to add $34,000 to take care of the rest of that money to keep the security officers at those two sites. And we took that money away from the other equipment, and that's just transferring money from one grant to the one that will allow us to pay for security. Down to 72-210, the supervisors lines. In special education supervisor line, we had to take a little out of the medical $2,000, and we moved it down to travel, overages and travel. No changes in vocational education. And then in technology, we had to do some changing around. We had some overages in services, but we moved all the money from within that category. So we took $2,500 out of salaries, $1,000 out of Social Security, and $3,500 out of medical insurance, and then $20,000 out of equipment to make up for the $30,000 shortfall in contract. That was before Mr. Cullum joined in on that supervisor line, so he had to make the payments that were done first semester. And then we also had to add a little to the internet connectivity fund to satisfy that for the year. Then in the Board of Education, there were no changes there. Office of the Superintendent, we moved $300 from medical to medical insurance from employment. I didn't have this on your paper, but I have to move $1,000 out of office supplies into travel. We were over in travel, and I missed that until I found it today. So if you'll kind of pencil in $1,000 added to the travel, and we took it away from the office supplies. And there's no change in the office of the principal. Changes in services, or changes in plant operations. We're not really sure what this will do as far as our electricity and gas and water, so we're still kind of holding tight on those. Not sure if being out of school, it should make a difference, but I don't have any idea if it will or not. And then in the maintenance of plant, there's no changes in there either. Pupil transportation, we did have to make a few changes in there. We took $40,000 out of medical insurance and gave some more money into maintenance and repair, and put some extra money into other contracted services. That's mainly for towing and any kind of things that the staff in the transportation can't take care of. We took $10,000 out of gasoline, $15,000 out of tires, and put it in vehicle parts, and then took vehicle equipment, $8,000 out of that, and put it into transportation equipment so that we could buy an extra bus during this full year. But those are all changes that Mr. Morris was needing to move in order to finish out this year. So then on the next one, we have nothing in food services. In the community service, that's our SACC. We took $18,000 out of other salaries, put it into travel, food supplies, and other supplies. Of course, we don't have any idea when that will kick in again, but if we have the opportunity to finish out the summer, she would needed those changes made in her category. And then in early childhood education, special education as well as this early childhood are very, very tight. This one, all of their money comes from the State Department, but we had to add $3,000 to cover some instructional supplies that they had to purchase that they didn't have enough money for. And you can see all those little pieces of money that we had to gather to give the medical insurance. They had some changes in their medical insurance when they changed staff members this year. So some of those things had to be taken care of here at the end of the year. And then capital outlay, we moved $100 from state retirement into the employer Medicare liability. And that is all we have on 141. Any questions on 141? All right. So if you go to 142, 142, as you know, federal always has quite a few changes here at the end of the year. I'll go through each one of them if you'd like. We're moving because the end of the year has to close out evenly, and so they have moved the money out of different line items to take care of ending the year the way they need to be able to pay all the salaries and take care of all of the purchases that they're going to do. So if you look at that first section, it's 7,100 again in the federal, and they've moved money out of the teacher line, $3,600. They've added $4,000 to educational assistance, took out money from other salaries, $1,810, and took out money from Social Security as well as state retirement. And then they added back $6,500 into medical insurance, $1,500 back into unemployment compensation, and then the $7 into the Medicare liability. Took out $3,000 from instructional supplies, $2,000 from other charges, and added $7,000 back into the regular equipment. So that change in 7,100 was a change of a decrease of $2,783. In the special education line, that's 71,200. They added $4,000 to the teacher line, $65,000 to educational assistance. They took away or decreased $173,595.10 from medical insurance, and decreased $4,086.22 from unemployment. Added $10,000 to contracts for substitutes. $2,023.71 for instructional supplies, added $40,000, $40,816.27 to other supplies and materials, and added $13,000 to special education equipment. But they still had a decline in that category of $42,346.18. Moving down to vocational education. In this vocational education, due to all of the closures of schools, all of their trips that had been planned had to be reallocated so that they could purchase equipment. And so all of those negatives are coming from salary lines, most of them. The only one that is an increase is for medical insurance, that $48.60. And then they added in that CTE allocation $46,191.34 to purchase vocational instructional equipment. So that added to that vocational line $36,586.23. All right. Then health services was not touched. The other student support, $10 was added to the other wages and salaries. $28,271 was taken away from the travel, and $10 taken away from other materials and supplies, as well as a negative $7,183.86 for in-service staff development. So the change in other student support was a negative $35,454.86. Then in the regular instructional program, the supervisor's line, there was $10 added to the supervisor's line, $100,600 to other salaries and wages, $6,316 to Social Security, $10,695 to retirement, $500 to unemployment, and $1,459 to Medicare liability. And then they reduced other supplies and materials by $483, and then reduced the in-service staff development by $120,106.60. Then going down to the support services, $700 was added to psychological personnel, $36,917.24 to medical personnel, $4,593.90 to clerical personnel, and $3,314.17 to Social Security. And then they decreased the state retirement by $6,129.57. Medical insurance increased by $1,377.70. Employer Medicare was decreased by $683.69, and then an increase in the Medicare for $641.47. And then they had a decrease of in insert staff development, $1,772.07, for an increase in that grouping for $38,959.39. Vocational support services in that next line, $72,230. They reduced the admin staff development by $1,131.37. And then down into the office of the principal, they added $4,652.60 to the assistant principal line, $35 to medical insurance, and they reduced unemployment by $175. And in the support service for transportation, the bus driver line item increased by $4,622. They decreased other salaries and wages by $1,135. Increased Social Security by $330.36. They reduced their state retirement by $548. The Medicare by $161.86, and then they increased their Medicare by $49. There were no changes in the non-instructional services. And then the indirect cost, they had a change of $489.71. And that's all we have in federal. That's a lot. Any questions on federal? You'll be happy to know that there are no changes in the food service. Of course, we don't have any idea the fallout or whatever will come for the food service for the rest of the year. Any accommodations being talked about, so I feel like sooner or later they will come out all right. But of course, their revenues and expenditures will have to be looked at at the end of the year. Then 167, you're adding that money last time we met, so there's no changes in the Fund 177 either. Any questions on the budget?
Does anyone have any questions, or do we have a motion to approve the amended budget as presented by Ms. Murdoch?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Clark. Do we have a second? Second by, who
I'll
was
second.
that? Oh,
I'll
okay,
second.
Mr. Joyner, second by Mr. Joyner. Are there any questions for about the budget, amended budget? Okay, Dr. Combs.
Davidson. Clark.
Aye.
Burleson.
Aye.
Shipley.
Aye.
Vincent. Joyner.
Aye.
Farrell.
Aye.
Rozelle.
Aye.
McClurkin.
Aye.
9 ayes, Mr. Chairman. Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Combs, Dr. Combs. All right, that brings us down to other business. Does anybody have any other business tonight?
I only had one of the cafeteria workers approach me, and she wanted to know whenever we go back to school and we have a summer program, rather than the parents coming in the building to get the lunches of the children eating in the building, that they could have something like we're doing now, that the parents drive up and get them. They figure you might have a better response. So that was the only thing that was given to me.
Okay. Dr. Combs, did you get that, Dr. Combs?
Yeah. Do you want
Yes,
me to
sir.
respond?
Good.
I got it. Yeah, Dr. Fisher, do you have something you want to respond to?
Yes, ma'am. What we'll have to do is just wait on the guidelines from USDA and the
Okay.
summer feeding program. The only reason we're able to do this is because they relaxed those guidelines. So they'll have to do the same. And if they do that, that may be a possibility, but right now we don't know.
Okay. Oh,
Marty, I got one thing I'd like to bring up, if it's okay.
Yes,
Down at Drummond School, it may not be the right time, but we've got some storm drains down there coming off the school, coming across the sidewalks that are broke all to pieces. And people have to walk over these things. They need to be repaired bad.
okay.
This is a good time to get somebody to work on them while school's down.
Yes, sir. Well,
I walked them the other day, and it's probably 10-foot sidewalk, and over half of it broke out, and just wide open.
we'll check on those next week, Mr. Joyner.
Okay.
I've got something. I had some parents asking about graduation. Do we know anything?
No, ma'am. That's actually a good lead into what I was going to say. Thank you. The State Board of Education met today in their first session, and honestly, they really didn't. They didn't make a number of decisions about what maybe we thought they were going to talk a little more about graduation. That's going to probably come up later. They're going to reconvene in some later meetings and talk some more about graduation and what's going to be required, that type of thing. I have a webinar coming up on Monday with the Tennessee Board of Education, or the Tennessee Department of Education, I mean, and we're going to probably talk a little bit more about that then. So we don't have any real concrete guidance yet, as far as what that's going to look like. I was reading something today about there's over 71 something thousand seniors across the state that are, asking the exact same question. So hopefully we'll have some guidance soon, but it hasn't come quite yet. So,
Okay, does anyone else have anything they'd like to bring up?
Yeah, how are we looking at the CHS Fieldhouse project?
We're supposed to be putting HVAC in the locker room in April, so we should have that done in April. Right now, Mr. Clark, the main thing we're looking at is whether or not we're going to put 2 units on there or 1 unit. We're a little worried about 1 unit because it would have to. Right now, that 1 unit probably have to sit on the roof, and we don't know if the roof's going to support it. So we're going to have to maybe look at an area, maybe setting it out like on the ground outside the room, and then ducting it in from there. So we're supposed to do that in April. And then I talked to Donnie just a couple of days ago, and we're just basically waiting on a couple permits to come through with the city, and then we'll be able to move forward some more on that project. Of course, it's wet, so we're waiting to move a little dirt there too. But you should see some dirt work in April, and you should see air conditioning in the locker room in April.
Good deal. Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Combs, do you have anything else you'd like to add, Dr. Combs?
Not really. I put a couple things on Twitter today, so if y'all will kind of encourage everybody to check out our Twitter feed, and then Miss Melissa, who's here in the meeting with us, she is kind enough to take my Twitter feeds and also post them on our Facebook page. So if you will kind of follow those, I'm giving updates on what the the Tennessee State Board is doing, and what we're looking at so far. I haven't gotten any guidance yet as far as if the closure is going to last longer. My guess would be that it is, but we have not gotten any more information there. We're trying to follow the governor's lead on that, and trying to stick with everybody around us and what the governor's requesting that we do on schools being out. At this point, I will say this: my plans are not to extend the school year into the summer. That is not anything I'm thinking about right now. I've had multiple calls and questions about that, so I might as well just say it out here in front of everybody. That is not my plan right now, is to extend the school year into the summer. We're going to look at some other things, but like I said, we're waiting on guidance from the State Department on a lot of that. Other than that, we appreciate your support. The parents, the community, everyone's been wonderful, and unprecedented time. So everybody's done great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Combs, and thank everyone tonight for participating. Hey, it was the first, and we made history tonight, and everyone did a good job, fine job. And do we have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
A motion by Mr. Davidson. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Mr. Clark. We stand adjourned.
Everybody have a blessed weekend.
Yes, ma'am. Y'all
You too,
too.
Ms. Belinda.
Y'all too.
Bye-bye.
You too.
Happy
Thank you all.
Easter.
Happy Resurrection Sunday.
There you go.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you all for bearing with us. Appreciate it.
Hey,
Be good. Have a nice one.
Kevin, are we off?